How often have you nodded along knowingly when a classic film is mentioned, secretly hoping no one asks for details? Please remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. It's a universal movie moment, isn't it? Uh, Someone quotes a line, everyone laughs, and you just smile, praying. The conversation moves on, and whether it's a lengthy gangster epic or black and white wartime romance, some movies are so embedded in culture, not seeing them can feel almost sacrilegious. Uh, Yet many of us pretend we have. We claim to have watched them to appear smarter, cooler, or to avoid uh, judgmental looks from cinephiles. No one's judging, though, and some of these films are incredibly slow, thematically dense, or so widely parodied that watching them feels redundant. If you've ever faked your way through a movie discussion, this list is for you. Uh, Here are 20 movies many claim to have seen, but likely haven't. If you've watched them all, truly, we salute your dedication. Um, and The Godfather, 1972. Um, um, Admitting that you haven't seen The Godfather is like confessing that you don't know who Beyonce is. Everyone claims to have seen it, often in a, you know, theatrical Marlon Brando voice. You've probably seen snippets or heard an offer he can't refuse. But did you watch the full 3-hour epic without checking your phone? Probably not. The film starts with um, a wedding, wine, hushed conversations, and meaningful glances. Marlon Brando mumbles. Al Pacino stays quiet initially. And then suddenly a street brawl erupts and someone's jaw gets shattered. And then entering this dark world of criminal families is intense. And it's easy to lose focus if you're not fully invested. And this film, revered as cinema's greatest, is often nodded to without full comprehension. Many wouldn't know Fredo from Sunny if their movie-loving lives depended on it, um, um, and that's perfectly okay. Casablanca, 1940. Casablanca is the movie people reference to sound sophisticated. Oh, you haven't seen Casablanca? Um, it's the greatest love story ever told. That sounds impressive, but have you truly experienced it? Or are you just repeating, this could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship? Um, and so if I wonder about this, the fact that, we're going to this stand books of the title lines, and it's seen as a symbol of timeless cinematic art. Yet many can't explain the plot beyond World War II and a sad romance. Humphrey Bogart stars. Ingrid Bergman looks stunning in soft black and white. Uh, but if you prefer sort of fast-paced action, it might feel sluggish. Um, the story is set in wartime Morocco. There's a lot of piano gazing, tense passport situations, and Rick Six drinks indifferently. Uh, and it's atmospheric and recognizable, but can be slow if you're not in the right mood, or if you're not in the right mood. Uh, you claim to have seen it to avoid judgment. If you cry at "We'll always have Paris," make sure you've actually reached that part. A premature sob session is quite embarrassing. Um, um, yeah, it is more strongly Taxi Driver. There's always that person who thinks they're Travis Bickle with the hoodie, repeating like "you talking to me." It's iconic, but mirroring a line isn't watching Scorsese's masterpiece. Um, and I think it's Taxi Driver is often claimed for intellectual or edgy points. It's such an intense portrayal of urban decay. Okay, but what happens after the Mohawk? Um, it's a symphony of long, tense silences and De Niro's haunting voiceovers. Themes of loneliness and alienation weave through trash-strewn streets. Travis takes an awkward date to a porn theater, a testament to his detachment. It's a gripping descent into madness. Uh, um, but Jodie Foster's role as a teenage prostitute adds an awkward tone. The story culminates in a violent, bloody confrontation. Many claim vivid recollections of this ending, though perhaps they are exaggerated. This film is, slow, deep, slow, and raw, which it's not a casual Friday night watch. Why? Yet, due to Scorsese, De Niro, and that famous quote, it's on many I've definitely seen it lists. Um, 2001 Space Odyssey. Um, this isn't just a film, it's a test of endurance. If someone says they watched 2001 and loved every second, they might be exaggerating. Or if perhaps they dozed off during the 20-minute classical music segment with rotating space stations. They just woke for the psychedelic light show. Stanley Kubrick's 1968 sci-fi film is known for visuals, symbolism, and an enigmatic plot. It leaves viewers guessing about its meaning. Guessing is these are. It begins with apes learning tools, then abruptly cuts to spaceships gliding silently with endless classical music. And then there's HAL 9000, the iconic red-eyed AI, unsettling yet memorable weapons in the first. Numerous extended leisurely sequences might captivate or lull you. Many call it deep, visionary, mind-opening. While true, many who claim to have seen it either quit or remember only divide. And it's a classic, but Don't assume everyone referencing it reached the space baby. And Reservoir Dogs, 1992. And because of interesting problems, starting again, what is name dropped by those wanting to appear appreciative of real cinema. It's gritty, violent, and has a great soundtrack. Many who claim to have seen it just recall the suits and sunglasses from a meme, or they assume they know Tarantino from Pulp Fiction. But these movies are distinct. This film is not a typical heist flick. The robbery itself is never shown. Instead, we get intense violence in a warehouse with characters pointing fingers. They have quirky names like Mr. Pink and Mr. Blonde. And it's about suspense, shouting, and a disturbing torture scene. This production is raw, chaotic, and dialogue is classic Tarantino, where it's humorous, rambling, and surprisingly philosophical. If you don't like men discussing Madonna mid-blood splatter, it might be too much. Despite its legendary status, many claim to have watched it when they've only caught its general vibe. No judgment here. But don't quote Mr. Bai. Pink, unless you've reached the climactic shootout. It's best appreciated in full context. This is Spinal Tap. Turn It Up to 11 is for everyone who chuckled without knowing its origin. This is Spinal Tap as the ultimate mockumentary. Hipsters claim it's hilarious and ahead of its time, even if they only saw a Reddit screenshot. The movie features a fictional yet authentic band. Spinal Tap is eccentric, self-important, and barely functional. The film chronicles their disastrous, out of control tour. Amplifiers go to 11. Stonehenge replicas are accidentally tiny. Musicians vanish. It's witty, awkward, and understated. If you don't catch the humor, you might wonder if it was even meant to be funny. Music lovers, comedians, and anyone in a band love this. But the number of people who reference it versus those who've seen it, start to finish, big gap. So feigning knowledge is simpler. Apocalypse Now, 1979. This film is often claimed to give an air of sophistication. Whisper Apocalypse Now with gravity and the people think you're a scholar. Asked to explain the plot, many will vaguely reply, Vietnam. Marlon Brando. A man loses his mind. While not entirely inaccurate, it's just a glimpse. The movie is a slow, psychedelic descent into insanity. A soldier, Martin Sheen, is tasked with eliminating a renegade colonel, Brando, mostly hidden and whispering, directed by Francis Ford Coppola. The production was notoriously unruly, real storms, mental breakdowns. A separate documentary, Hearts of Darkness, captured it all. Uh, this documentary might even be more watched than the original film. Apocalypse Now is lengthy, dreamlike, and rich in symbolism. It resonates with helicopter blades and profound philosophy. People casually quote the horror, but struggle to explain the ending. Um, Honestly, that's fitting. It feels more like an art exhibition than a typical movie night. Um, if you found it hard to follow, I understand. Um, Goodfellas, 1990. And this film is often associated with the brotherhood of cinema. Um, when someone says Goodfellas is their top movie, it's a coin flip if they've seen it, but it's 100% certain they've recited. Uh, Funny how, like, I'm a clown, and I amuse you, usually imperfectly. Martin Scorsese's Mafia masterpiece is legendary. It's brisk, intense, boisterous, and brimming with unforgettable portrayals. Henry Hill, who loves gangsters, lives their life. Ray Liotta is captivating. Robert De Niro delivers peak De Niro, and Joe Pesci shines with a simmering temper. Many associate the film with iconic moments. The Steadicam shot, the How exchange, the helicopter sequence. These scenes stand out for those who've seen the whole film. But many lose interest after the initial style and 60s music. Despite its length, rapid escalation, and dark descent, many still feign familiarity. Not seeing Goodfellas often elicits shock, like an insult about their mother, um, main constitutional writers offer. What did this? They are unlikely. However, the technically getting the fourth century make many claim to have watched Schindler's List out of obligation, praising its greatness, admitting you haven't seen this profound film feels wrong. Truthfully, many have been nodding their consent for years without watching it. Directed by Steven Spielberg, it recounts Oskar Schindler's true tale. He was a German entrepreneur who saved over 1,000 Jewish lives during the Holocaust. Filmed in black and white with a splash of red. It spans over 3 hours, intense, heart-wrenching, and emotionally taxing. This is why many avoid watching it, feigning ignorance instead. This movie is on many all-time great lists, winning 7 Oscars. But its profound subject makes it challenging to watch. And its emotional intensity deters many. So people vaguely mention the little girl in the red coat was impactful without fully engaging. The Great Escape, 1963, and this film seems remarkably familiar, as if you've seen it before, but you haven't. The Great Escape, has seeped into popular culture. Uh, it boasts an iconic theme song, Steve McQueen leaping a motorcycle over barbed wire, and haunting whistled tune. Uh, uh, but enduring its entire 2 hours and 52 minutes might not be everyone's idea of a good time uh, set during World War II. The story revolves around Allied captives attempting escape from a German prison camp, and tunneling disguises tension, um, British accents. The film has an impressive cast for its era. Steve McQueen, James Garner, Richard Attenborough. Um, um, it's a movie you might have watched on, lazy Sunday afternoons, codings. Everyone raves about it as a must watch. So you go along, you feign familiarity with the tunnels. Perhaps you casually comment, the ending is quite intense. But in reality, you've only caught the motorcycle scene in a montage. You might have watched it on TV for 5 minutes once. It's a well-known situation where people feign familiarity. This saves them from explaining why they haven't seen it. So, Fight Club in 1999, the film often referenced like scripture, beginning with the first rule of Fight Club, um, followed by an enigmatic pause, giving the impression of deep insight. This is David Fincher's Fight Club, starring a turbulent Brad Pitt and a fatigued Edward Norton. This movie encapsulates 90s angst. It's about insomnia, soap, capitalism, and your imaginary best friend beating you up. What many claim to understand this film, some say it explores masculinity. Others, anti-consumerism. It's about a severely sleep-deprived man resorting to violence in basements. It'll see in this scape that there is many things that they have in C, and many C because smoking, cigarette wielding Helena Bonham Carter gets entangled in this chaos, despite its box office underperformance. This film became an icon for college dorms and Reddit discussions. It's got an edgy, stylish vibe that whispers, I frequent IKEA, but despise it. And if you've been exasperated by a Tyler quoting Nietzsche at a gathering, this movie is likely why not these days in more that topic comes up frequently. And people seem familiar when Project Mayhem is mentioned. I nod subtly, really, but I wonder if anyone truly knows what it refers to as. I'm still sort of pondering that intriguing bar of soap. The Notebook, as the Notebook is an H60, was called more like the Notebook. This movie caused an entire generation to think deeply about true love. The Notebook combines
Southern Charm, Forbidden Love, and Ryan Gosling.
He builds a dream home by hand, desperately trying to win back one special girl. Uh, not the story has a wealthy protagonist, a humble love interest, um, disapproving parents, conflict, unsent letters, and plenty of emotional rain. Initially, it seems to be about two elderly individuals. By the end, you'll be deeply moved, as if you've experienced a profound loss. And when people talk about Noah and Allie love, they mean the intense passion of Ryan Gosling shouting, "It wasn't finished. It isn't over yet." This film may be sentimental and overly dramatic, but it's a favorite among romantics and those who claim to be beyond such emotions. And when this movie plays, even the most skeptical viewers find themselves wrapped in a blanket, tears streaming down their faces. Um, Also, let's be honest, you only said you hated it because it made you feel feelings. I Forrest Gump, 1994. If you've heard Life is Like a Box of Chocolates but didn't know the origin, check out Forrest Gump. Tom Hanks is unintentionally involved in American history from 1950 to 1980 simply by being courteous and showing up. What? And the film is heartwarming, absurd, and strangely inspirational. It encourages you to just roll with the punches because Forrest traverses the nation on foot, casually meets presidents possible. Uh, he exhibits extraordinary ping pong skills, launches a shrimping enterprise, and raises a child, all with his unchanging expression and that distinctive Southern accent that inexplicably tugs at your heartstrings um, every time he utters. I might not be a wise man, but I understand the essence of love. It sparked a torrent of motivational Facebook posts. You're familiar with The Feather, the soundtrack, and Tears from His Talk with Jenny. This film is lengthy and tender, yet it's unexpectedly emotional, leaving you moved, or much like Forrest Gump running across a football field. He didn't understand the game's complexity. The Shining, 1980. This isn't your typical horror movie. Stanley Kubrick's The Shining is a chilling tale of cabin fever, eerie twins, and a typewriter, all converging in psychological distress. Um, Starring expressive eyebrows and Jack Nicholson, this film avoids jump scares. It delves into a creeping madness that makes you contemplate leaving the lights on forever. The movie is set in a snow-trapped hotel, infamous for axe-related incidents. It chronicles Jack Torrance's transformation from writer to chilling Here's Johnny. His wife, Wendy, is constantly fearful. Their child communicates with the deceased and spells murder backwards. The ghostly apparition in the bathtub still sends shivers down spines. Even 40 years later, the psychological horror is exquisitely executed with eerie corridors, blood dripping elevators, and a labyrinth. The labyrinth symbolizes Jack's deteriorating mental state. Even if you haven't seen the movie, you know that iconic line, the door scene, and those twin characters. When you mentioned watching The Shining, it gave the impression you'd seen this film as a holy text in horror cinema. But I wonder if your knowledge is based more on the act seeing from memes than experiencing the full film. The Silence of the Lambs, when a movie about tracking a serial killer becomes more renowned for fava beans and Chianti than detective work. It's special. Transcends thriller. It's the terrifying blueprint for psychological horror. It transformed cannibalism into something sophisticated. Anthony Hopkins delivers a chilling performance, leaving an indelible mark on your dreams. This film redefined creepy genius. Jodie Foster portrays Clarice Starling, a novice FBI agent. She wants to do her work without unwanted advances, disturbing experiences, or danger, dirty, Fottens, friends. The most promising clue in her case is a charismatic psychopath. He has a refined palate and strips people mentally behind reinforced glass. Meanwhile, Buffalo Bill hides in a secret chamber with a sewing machine, a pale and profound identity dilemmas. It's unsettling yet captivating, with an unusual charm to its dialogue. Indeed, the lambs are quite vocal in their distress. For movie enthusiasts, it's a must-see. But truthfully, after watching it once, you likely shielded your eyes during the basement scene. You've never looked at lotion the same way. If someone brings it up, casually mention quid pro quo and nod as if you grasp all the complex emotional symbolism. Brokeback Mountain. This movie deviates from the traditional cowboy genre. If your idea of a Western involves stolen glances, profound sorrow, and a complex romance, between two men tending sheep, you might recognize it. But isn't just a love story. Tore everyone's heart out, stamped on it with a dusty boot, then whispered a poignant promise while gazing at a closet. Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal portray Ennis and Jack, two rough ranch workers. Their temporary summer job evolves into a lifelong, heart-wrenching connection. And that means that there are wives, children, fruitless fishing, and unspoken emotions. But at its core, it's about two individuals. They struggled to live openly, and the whole secrecy uh, took the mountain was a metaphor for unspoken words. Um, During that time, openly expressing one's true identity could lead to danger, despite being passed off as just a gay cowboy film. Its true essence lies in exploring love, remorse, and lingering what if questions. You might believe, Brokeback Mountain, from melancholic violin melodies or internet memes. But if you haven't cried over a shirt in a closet while watching it, you haven't truly seen it. Uh, when Harry Met Sally, 1989, have you ever experienced a 12-year friendship that turned into a relationship? Um, Starting with a late night confession, culminating in a wedding. Uh, and that's when Harry Met Sally, but with more witty banter, character nuances, and Meg Ryan ordering meals like she's testifying in court. Directed by Rob Reiner and written by Nora Ephron. This film sparked a societal discussion. Can men and women truly be friends? Billy Crystal portrays Harry, doubting, you know, platonic friendships with women, and Meg Ryan is Sally, a organized optimist who dismisses his skepticism over airport terminals, bookshops, phone calls, and heartfelt moments. They grow close. They navigate arguments, disregarding the more than friends billboard. Um, it isn't until a tearful moment, a toast, and an awkward silence after a hookup that we realize their friendship was a prelude. The movie offers subtle humor, classic diner sequences, which, and an eternal message: love is often right beside you, referencing Casablanca. Harry finally meets Sally, and we, the audience, are introduced to one of the finest romantic comedies ever. Uh, um, if you think you've had a tough week, consider it's trapped for 127 hours between a rock and a hard place. And why? He neglected to inform someone of his destination. A newbie error lead into profound life-altering experiences. Directed by Danny Boyle, featuring an exceptional solo performance by James Franco, immerses us in a tumultuous canyon landscape. It disregards your outdoor skills if you forget the common sense with energy bars. One misstep, a displaced boulder, and Aaron's arm is trapped. Over 5 grueling days, Aaron communicates with his video camera, conserves water, hallucinates past lovers and future children. He eventually reaches a harrowing conclusion. To survive, he must perform a makeshift amputation. This is followed by one of the most intense uses of a dull, multi-purpose tool ever depicted. Medium bones crack, all of those in terms of sight. Obviously, it's popular, able to reconcile with water stops, skin rips, viewers collectively cringe, but endurance is key. Our protagonist exits, losing an arm, yet determined, right into a life-saving situation and salvation. It's an individual saga of resilience, courage, and true survival. And lesson learned: tell someone your hiking plans. Um, Otherwise, you might create a Oscar-worthy survival story. When the choice is yours, The Count of Monte Cristo. Let me tell you about an extraordinary journey of revenge, transformation, and flawless disguises. The Count of Monte Cristo. Um, Alexander Dumas' timeless tale has been retold more times than Romeo declared love for Juliet. The 2002 adaptation, starring Jim Caviezel and Guy Pearce, could be the unsung hero of revenge movies. Many people think they've watched it, perhaps mistaking it for The Three Musketeers. This adventure revolves around Edmond Dantes, an innocent sailor. He's falsely accused and ends up in prison with a long beard. His jealous friend Fernand plays a treacherous role. While incarcerated, he meets an intelligent older inmate, Richard Harris, and the original Dumbledore, who equips him with knowledge, purpose, and a map to immense treasure. Edmund transforms into a wealthy, enigmatic count, aiming to ruin those who wronged him. Amidst duels, hidden offspring, and you didn't just do that scenes. This film offers top-notch revenge and early 2000s dramatic flair. If you've ever faked watching a literary adaptation, this one's for you. And believe us, it's worth the time spent. Oppenheimer, 2023. The film is Oppenheimer, a detailed, intense biographical drama by Christopher Nolan. It focuses on J. Robert Oppenheimer, the individual who contributed significantly to the creation of the world's first atomic bomb, despite many boasting about watching it as an intellectual accomplishment. Let's face it, this movie is lengthy, complex, and resembles simultaneously studying physics and watching a psychological mystery. Cillian Murphy portrays J. Robert Oppenheimer, brilliant but tormented scientist. He grapples with intellect, remorse, and Cold War anxiety. The narrative isn't strictly chronological. It traces Oppenheimer's journey from eccentric Cambridge student to head of the Manhattan Project, and then into the tumultuous political landscape and deceptions of the 1950s. I found myself immersed in this film. Somber, monochromatic IMAX sequences. They are distinctively Christopher Nolan's. And it's the type of movie where your attention might wander, but your you're jolted back, realizing you're not just watching a movie, but bearing witness to history and grappling with profound moral dilemmas concerning science and war. You might want to mention the Barbenheimer trend. People surprisingly combined this intense atomic tale with the light-hearted Barbie film for thrilling double bill. And so casually bring up Oppenheimer at your next gathering, even if you haven't finished watching it. Show off your intellectual prowess. How many of these so-called classics have you truly watched, and which are only familiar from cultural references? Feel free to share your genuine opinions. There's no judgment here. And list your favorites, the films you might not have seen but claim to have, and let's see who's been casually mentioning movies they haven't fully experienced. Why did the film get a poor review from the Atom? Because it had no chemistry. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time, Peeper. Thanks for watching.